wanted to do a video on a show I was actually a little bit hyped on the other day, American Horror Stories. Really, bless you, really stupid title, if you ask me. I feel like they should have did American Horror Story Chronicles or Tales from American Horror Story. It's just too similar, right? Story and stories.
Yeah.
You would have to really listen to catch somebody say, like, did you catch American Horror Story last night? Stories? No, story. It's like, oh.
Anytime that I'm trying to look up anything about the newest one, I can't. I keep getting stuff about the old ones.
Yeah, there's not a lot of, I guess, hype around this show. I don't know, or because I'm pretty sure it only comes on Hulu, right? So only if you have the Hulu subscription you can watch it. And I just so happened to randomly, just happen chance hear about it. Because who watches cable TV anymore, right? But I actually just had the TV on just for a second to switch the input over to like my my Xbox, and I just so happened to see an ad for it, and I was like, oh, okay, what's this? So anyway, American Horror Story. The main show itself has diminished in quality, slowly in different ways over time. Pretty hit or miss here or there. So. I didn't really have too high hopes for this American Horror Story. Ryan Murphy, he does have a certain charm to the way his, characters behave and the, like I said, the set and all of that. It just has a very certain feel. The music, a certain, it feels like American Horror Story, right? So I can't really tell if the things I liked about this were just because of the nostalgia from Murder House, or I think some of it was just pretty good as well, right? But then there's definitely some stuff that was like, it's just not perfect, or I guess it's just okay, right? It's not even good. So right off the bat, I do like the two the gay dads. I do like their dialogue and I guess charisma together. And then the daughter, she did not at all look like she was like 16, like they were trying to make her off to be. She was definitely, I think, in her probably mid-20s, early 20s at least, No way I looked at her and I saw like a teenager, But, I liked her acting as well, barring, her age aside, right? So, and I like, the three of them. Their family dynamic for the most part, is pretty good. But then, so we find the rubber woman suit in the closet, and I'm just like, I don't think there was anything in Murder House or previous seasons to tell us anything about how this got there. It just seems very like just something that was dropped in there just to do something, right? And if I just think that they should have kind of. It's like we were saying, it's more like Murder House season 2 than like building on to something from a previous season. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like it just pluck. Here's a story, right? It's not building off of something that's already happened, right? Apart from, I guess, the house that was there. They've reused that house in multiple seasons now. Apocalypse and another one I can't even remember what it was in. But so anyway, yeah, the rubber woman, again, it feels very 2020. Like I said, you have the rubber man, you gotta have the rubber woman. Maybe it's not like that, but I mean, I feel like Ryan Murphy does, is putting too much of the I guess his own identity stuff into it, like the, all the gay relationships. I don't have any problem with that, but I'm just saying it feels very forced at times. Some of it, season 7 is a great example of that, right? Where it's very forced in there for the overarching the story. But anyway, so there was some stuff though that I did like in this episode. Like I said, the characters, and then I liked the one scene where the guy they're breaking down the bricks, right? And the guy turns and starts bashing the guy who was in front of him, and he's like, acting like he has leverage on the two dads. I thought that was pretty funny, pretty American Horror Story-esque, and then he like comes out and he's like saying, oh yeah, your husband's been cheating on you and all this. It was just like, so crazy. And I was pretty entertained by it. I was pretty engaged for the whole thing, honestly. I never really felt bored or anything. It was 2 episodes actually, and we watched them straight through, and didn't ever feel like it was dragging on really to me. So I like that. I like the scene. Although I told her, I was like, I feel like this was probably done in Murder House before, but I did like the scene where the dads, realize that they've been dead or they didn't realize that they had been dead, you know, because
Until they try to leave.
Yeah, till they tried to leave. So I did like feel for those characters in that in that moment, but I feel like they probably already pulled that card in Murder House, but I don't remember. And then let's see. Of course, you know, like I said, it's kind of, I guess, unfair to say that or credit that I shouldn't give to this show because it was something from Murder House. But I did like, you know, of course, the Rubber Man, the eyes and everything was creepy. You know, how she's looking in the mirror and she sees the Rubber Man, you know, looking back at her instead of her. The creepy goblin thing in the basement. I'm sure there was some Easter eggs maybe that we could have picked up on if we were a little bit more refreshed with season 1. But the creepy thing in the basement was pretty scary. And then, you know, it was pretty brutal what happened to her at the slumber party. You know, I engaged with that pretty good. You know, I felt for her in that moment where she got recorded and she didn't realize it and all of that. That was pretty sad. But I did not like how at the end of the episode the girls forgave her, the girls forgave her for killing the redheaded girl. They're like, oh yeah, it's okay that you killed us. You can go ahead and go on into the house. And I was like, I don't think that you would. I mean, what they did to her was terrible, but I don't think that they would forgive that in real life, right? Like, oh, you killed me, so we're even. Like, no, that doesn't really make you even, where I think you just let that go, but whatever. A lot of the characters in this were kind of nonchalant about being dead. Like the therapist, you know, she just goes on and does her therapist thing after she gets killed, and she just accepts it, right? But whatever, it wouldn't really be a story if you had her just freaking out, you know. I don't think so. Anyway, I'm trying to think of what else here. Oh, there was a dumb part where so the girlfriend, what's the main chick's name? Do you remember? Because I can't. The girl with the red hair, Rubber Woman. There was a part where Rubber Woman's girlfriend, the dead chick that she meets in the house, that has like a really long, by the way, like tragic like backstory. By the way, that I felt like went on way too long. Anyway, so there was a part with her where she was at the carnival, and she, Rubber Woman's best friend, is about to get killed by the cheerleader chicks, and Rubber Woman's girlfriend steps in and is like, no, don't kill her, she's with me, or I'm gonna cut your face off every day for like a year, some crap like that. And they're like, oh, okay, you know, we'll back off now. And then in the like next following scene, the cheerleader chicks are going after Rubber Woman herself, and you know, of course, her girlfriend steps in, and then they just don't care. They're like, oh yeah, cut her face off, whatever. We're gonna kill her anyway. You know, we don't really care at that point. Just so it was just like, what is that? Did I miss something, or was it just sloppy like that? So that's really all I got to say. American Horror Stories. I am excited for what's to come from it, kind of, because I've looked ahead at the actors, and it doesn't look like there's going to be any recognizable actors like from the previous seasons and stuff like that. So, you know, that's kind of disappointing. But next episode is supposed to be the Roanoke, a story from Roanoke, I believe, which is my personal favorite season. I know a lot of people didn't really care for 6A, at least the first half of season 6. The second half was, yeah, not so much. You know, it's all right, but. And on that note, I think I'm gonna do a American Horror Story seasons ranked video at some point. So stay tuned for that. And yeah, that's about it for this one. See you in the next one.